Morning everyone. Right, let me just turn down Mr. Rose a second. Right, so it's like National VW Day in here today. First off, we have a VW Caddy for a Phoenix Gold amplifier and his own Kenwood sub. Was it Kenwood, wasn't it? Yes. So we've got amp going underneath the passenger seat, standard head unit, so we're going to do high level input into the Phoenix Gold and then run the sub cable round into the back. So we've got a box and a sub in the back. And I have a very, very nice VW T6, which has air ride for a start, which is super cool. It's got some issues. So somebody's done a job on it. We have no fader because it is a van head unit, which means it only came with front speakers. So somebody before us, let me just pop this up, has stuck in a Hertz system. So we have an amplifier down here, and up there we have a set of mids and tweeters, and in the front doors he seems to think they are standard looking speakers. This side doesn't work, it's dead, but that side does. So we're going to take this door card off, do a bit of investigation work. Because it doesn't come with a fader front to back, what they've done is they've taken the front channel out of this amp, out of that head unit into the amp at the back, created 4 channels of output, and then sent it back to the front. They've added rear speakers, but I don't think they've changed the front ones as far as he's concerned. He thinks they're standard. So we've probably just got a failed speaker and it needs an upgrade, and obviously this thing is yellow, so we're going to put kicker in it because they are mint. I'll come back to you in a bit as soon as I've taken it apart and done some investigation. Look at him. It's like a test tube worm. Well, it didn't take me long to find a problem. So, they're not standard speakers in the front, they are aftermarket speakers. They are Hertz Cento 165s, 4 ohms. The terminals are a bit weirdly still connected in. It's clearly done by somebody that knows what they're doing, right? But they've just been a bit lazy, so I don't know whether the audio was an afterthought, but anyway. So we've managed to get to the amp, A couple of things. This is a beauty panel that the amp was mounted on like this. You can see water ingress at the side here. That part of the amp board, this is dry, this is wet, that's wet. So the side of the amp has gotten wet, and this is calcium from the internals of the amp. Here at the top they actually used machine screws to go into wood, which is always useful. It's not going to hold shit. And then obviously they've got the IKEA side brackets, which these two are doing nothing. The two at the bottom were not doing anything either, but you can see the rust from where this thing has been filling up with water. On the side of the amp itself, we have witness marks of water here running through the amplification, but also we've got a ground and a live for the remote turn on. The ground cable, this dusty stuff here, is water. The power feed, CCA cabling, that's just come loose because they've not put a ferrule on it to hold it in properly. It's just screwed down and hope for the best. But because of the way that the amp was situated in this hole, everything, can you see the dents on the cloth? Let me just get the torch in here so you can see. There, can you see the dents on the cloth? So that was the cable that was pinned into the side of that trim because the amp was wedged against that side. None of these have ferrules on them, so the cable was just literally ripped out, and that's the positive, and I'm guessing that's the fuse for it there. The fuse is not blown, but the live did come out of it. Looking at the speaker feeds, again, no ferrules, no connection sort of to hold it in. They just pushed and screwed them down. Now from what I can see, they're all kind of coming out, and they're not exactly tight, as you can see there. But we do have we have 4, 6, yeah, we have our ins, sub, rear, front. So what I can do now is I can do a continuity test between the front right, which will be that bad boy there, and see what's coming out of it. Now normally you'd say the speaker's okay, so it's a connection issue, but the amount of water that seems to be coming into the back of this thing, oh yeah, it's damp. There's clearly an issue there with the amp maybe having a down channel, because we have a high level input, which is those two there.
I wonder if it's anything to do with this.
What? Maybe, yeah, probably. Could be not sealed properly and water's just running off of it straight into the back of the car. Yeah. It's one of those. It'll be done by a camper company that's flying these things out. Maybe something got missed, maybe something's a bit slack, but I'd say there's some water damage there. So we're going to do a continuity test between this right hand speaker and my front door over there, and then from there that will tell me what the issue is with regards to whether it's a signal pop or whether it's an amp that's broken. Speak to you in a bit. Right then everyone, the plot thickens. I'd love to know who did this. I hope it was our friends. Anyway, so what we basically have
is fuckery of
yeah, it's not that. Right, I am a big safety kind of guy, right? I'm not about looming everything. You don't need to. Like, taping the crap out of head unit wiring looms to make them look like a squished rat is not necessary. If the cables are safe and they are not going to fall onto the gear stick, the looser they are up there, the better, because it gives the cables room to move. You are not pulling quad lock leads out and breaking, snapping pins. So I'm not necessarily against not looming stuff, but I am against safety issues. And one of my biggest pet hates is stuff that's loose around pedals and steering columns that spin and crossovers that are just ready to lock up a brother. Like, come on, this is Mickey Mouse shit. But it gets better. So this is tight as a wizard sleeve into here. I was going to say the nuns thing, but I can't say the... Yes, you get it. Anyway, because they've not attached everything and loomed everything into one unit, like, just take the cables together so it's a nice big bunch. What they've done is they've left everything loose underneath the step. And as you can see here, can you see how pinched these cables are? And the problem we now have, Dan, just hold that up for me a second.
Yeah, bear with.
Is the cables that aren't actually put aside and secured out the way, the step is now cutting into them and shorting stuff out. So we have one here that's severed, we have one there that's cut, we have one there that's cut, we have one there that's cut. Like, this is just, you've got a padded floor that the cables could sit across and be out the way. There is no need to bring it down into the wet area where the step is kind of serrated underneath, and it's gonna, oh, they didn't even put the clips back together properly. That's probably because the speaker cables were in the way. You go across the top here. You don't need to come into the step area at all. This is dumb shit. Oh God. Oh, okay. So yes, so we have our issue as to why the front right speaker is not working. It's because the cables are pinched and cut. That's why we've got, it's wax oiled nicely though. Somebody's gone to the extent of not actually worrying about speaker cables, but they have wax oiled the van well. But here is our issue, and that is our issue. So I'm going to suggest to the guy that we need to redo this, because the cables down here aren't actually into anything. I don't know whether you can see that there. They are just literally sat inside there, just chilling. There's nothing attached to it. This needs a bit of a redo. Right, speak to you in a bit. Right then everyone, we're just packing up for the end of the day. Dan is just muscling the trailer in. Check out his poo face. No, you didn't. Right, we've got something cool coming in now. So the EVO950 has gone. We now have the EVO SPH-EVO98DAB. This is the EVO950's replacement. Shall we unbox it and see if anything has changed? Well, why not, I hear you say. So let's have a little look. So we get a bag of mixed screws for the fascia, long ones for the tray, blue ones for the side brackets on the cage, little black ones for the fascia, and then the actual chassis is usually the countersunks and the dome heads. 2.5mm Pioneer jack with said roof clip that we don't use, and you can bin that off and stick it with a sticky pad supplied nicely to the headliner so it looks posh. Pioneer GPS aerial, Pioneer factory plug, extension cord and GPS, which sits this way to sky. It can go under the dash, but if you want to get better reception, make sure it's mounted on metalwork, or if you're using it on plastic, use the reflective magnetic metal sticker so that it reflects the GPS upwards. That's the right way to do it. A bag of leads. We have the normal white plug that they've moved to now with AV inputs and outputs, reverse camera in brown, front rear sub, auxiliary jack, yes. What else are we missing on that one? No, that's it. Pioneer harness as standard. Green wire, put that straight to black, that goes to your earth, and then the unit does all of the fun stuff all the time as normal. Amp remote is blue, or aerial remote is blue. Purple, white is your reverse camera input, your trigger, and pink, obviously your speed pulse input. That's your gearbox pulsing or wheel speed pulsing to tell the sat-nav how fast you're going. Then two brackets, the spacer, so you can move the screen out of the dash further if you've got to avoid like an overhang or an air vent or something. That's the spacer that you can use on the front of the radio, which then has the metal bracket here. That is obviously where your blue screws go into there and your brown ones go into there. That's the general consensus. USB, type A, male to female, probably a meter, thereabouts. Then inside we have a box. Put that back up there so you can see what's what.
They're all now cardboard packaging,
yeah.
aren't they? They have to start with the 77s.
Destruction manual. and then you get your cardboard packaging. So chassis, what we're expecting from normal Pioneer stuff. We have on the back DAB input, our lead for our amps stuff. We have USB Type A, power plug, wired remote, microphone, GPS, FM aerial, and then the little inputs there you can do extra stuff with. On the front you'll see a menage of holes. Now with this bracket you can actually offset your screen if you want to, so it can go to the left, to the right, or in the middle, depending on how bad your OCD is. And then your spacer obviously goes on this, then the bracket goes on this to bring your screen out. Singled in chassis as normal, fan in the back.
Just a quick note, I've noticed they've changed the plug on the front of the radio.
They have.
Used to be a blue plug, it's now a black grey one.
Yes, it is, yeah, grey, and then your screen cable there. On the screen itself, a little new design as well, looks slightly different. We have a plastic cover on the back. Take off the protective screen. Watch me yeet this across the floor down.
Don't do that. Have they opted to have the buttons on top of this one as well?
Don't know yet. I don't know. First time I've seen it. No is the answer. Right. So we have a little plastic cover, but once you slide this off, you have your screen stuff there. So your grey plug goes in the grey hole there, and your white plug goes in the white plug there. Adjustment on the bracket, so you can have your screen up or down on the chassis, depending on which way you want to go. The 10-inch has obviously your volume button up here. This one does not. It's still nothing on the sides, nothing underneath, and it is just a flat screen, so I guess the volume and stuff will come down the side here as normal. Looks slightly wider, might be a little bit wider, possibly. Yeah, that looks a little bit wider. Maybe that's what the 98 is.
9.8
as opposed
inches.
to 9.5, yeah, could be. But there we go. So that is the SPH-EVO98DAB, the new radio that is replacing the 950 EVO. We're off for a nice weekend. Sunday is our day off. Everything is in, everything is gone, everything is done. Anything to add? Oh, there is. We've just been to Reading and dropped off. A guy called Freddie has just bought the first of the fans. So we have the purple, the green and the blue left. Ferrari red is gone. Happy days. See you Monday morning, everyone. Take it steady. I don't know if we're out on the bikes tomorrow. I haven't spoken to John or Dom yet, so maybe stay tuned for that one. See you soon. Bye.